You want to know 3 character habits that you can start using today to actually make people want to follow you as a leader instead of just tolerating you because you're the boss? Well, stick around. I'm about to let you in on a secret that most leaders don't put enough thought or time into, and that is character. It's the part of leadership that you can't put on your resume, but trust me, everyone from your team to your boss wishes you could. Because character is the thing people feel long before they ever see your skill set. It's the difference between I have to follow this person and I actually want to. Hey everyone, I'm 𝗁𝗂𝗋, leadership coach, storyteller, and creator of the Leadership Help Desk. And today we're diving into the character strand of your leadership DNA. Now, we're not just talking about what leaders do, we're talking about who they are, and more specifically, who they pretend to be versus who they actually are. We obsess over competence, our skills, frameworks we follow, the shiny bullet points. And look, competence matters, and I'll do a whole video on that. But let's be real. A highly competent jerk is just a highly efficient jerk, and no one wants to work for that kind of guy. Here's what the research says, and it's not even subtle. When leaders fail, it's usually a character failure, not a competence failure. Think about companies like Boeing, Volkswagen, and Lehman Brothers. Those weren't, oops, we miscalculated moments. Those were our character took a lunch break moments. Now, most leadership programs do obsess over competence. Things like communication, our delegation skills, our strategy, and like I said, competence does matter. But the research is very clear. Character, it's the foundation of leadership. Competence is the structure that you build on top of it. Now, people, they'll forgive your mistakes, but what they won't forgive is your breaches of trust. And trust is built on character like integrity, humility, courage, and self-regulation. And look, I've even had days where my self-regulation was, well, let's just call it pending. But that's the point. Your character is something that you can practice and improve, not something that is set in stone. Now, here's the wall that we all hit. It's called the integrity versus image dilemma. And most people, even including me, spend 90% of our energy managing our image. It's how we look, what we post, how witty our Slack messages sound. And we spend about 10% of our energy on actual integrity. Now let's get real for a second. Think about this. If you're spending 45 minutes agonizing over the perfect thought leadership emoji for your LinkedIn post, but you couldn't even spare 45 seconds to actually listen to someone on your team this morning, you don't have a character strand. You've got a marketing strategy. And trust me, your team can tell the difference between a leader and a brand. Now, integrity is simply the alignment of your thoughts, your words, and your actions. And when those 3 are out of sync, you create organizational debt. And that's like a credit card with a brutal interest rate because everything takes twice as long because no one trusts you. We want our leaders to be perfect, but we only trust them when they're human. And it's kind of like wanting a superhero who occasionally forgets their keys. Now, researchers, as well as the well-known Brené Brown, her entire empire shows vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. Saying, I don't know, or I messed that up, that's not incompetence. It's a huge neon sign that says, I value truth more than my ego. And teams will run through walls for a person like that. I've had to say I've messed up so many times that I should have one of those little cards, you get one more apology and I get a free donut with my coffee kind of punch card. So how do we fix the DNA? Well, here are 3 practical habits that you can start today. First, stop asking yourself, am I a good leader? Your ego will always say yes to that question, whether it is or not. Instead, ask, would I honestly want to work for me today? Think about it. If your boss interrupted people, checked their phone, or was vague about deadlines during team meetings, would you be inspired? Or would you quietly be updating your resume on company time? Trust me, I've seen it happen many times. So use the mirror test before any high-stakes interaction. It's a shockingly effective ego reset. Second, high-character leaders apologize for impact, not just intent. All right, so Tom, what does that mean? Well, it means stop saying, I'm sorry if you felt that way. That's a polite way of saying to someone on your team, your feelings are the problem. Instead, say you're sorry for what you did and then acknowledge what it caused. Example, I'm sorry I interrupted you in the meeting earlier today. I see how that made you feel unheard. You know, it's not only good at work, but it fixes relationships faster than any therapy session. And let me tell you, my wife can attest to this. Although, to be fair, I haven't apologized enough yet today to earn my good husband points. And finally, character isn't built in crises. It's built in the dark, in the small, mundane decisions that you make. If someone asks for feedback on well, let's call it a developing idea, don't lie with, well, that's great. Try, I appreciate you sharing this, and I'm not sure this is our strongest path yet. Let's explore it more. Or, if you made a small mistake, own it immediately. My bad, I missed that detail. You're not being harsh. You're training your team and yourself that your words match reality. That's how trust is built. One honest, slightly awkward conversation at a time. So commit to extreme candor on one small thing today. Try it. All right, so there it is. 3 ways to build your character strand. Competence gets you noticed, but character gets you trusted. And the best part? Character is learnable, it's developable, it's measurable, and it compounds over time. It determines whether people follow you because they have to or because they want to. All right, if this gave you something to think about or made you realize you need a little character tune-up, hit that subscribe button. You know, we're a community, we're building a community of leaders who lead with integrity, courage, and a little humor, because leadership is serious, but we don't have to take ourselves so serious. All right, stick around because the next strand is coming, and trust me, you're going to want the whole DNA sequence. See you in the next video.